is all the ADMs, they had at least 12-inch long bolts with rod welded to them so that the anchors couldn't pull out of the concrete. And that led us to Koop Satellite Digest. I figured if Taylor will tell Robert Coleman something he's discovered, then why shouldn't he tell everybody else too? And that's what the early couple of years of Koop Satellite Digest was. Whatever somebody discovered, good, bad, or indifferent, we published because it was the spreading of information, and it sped up, I think, the maturing process of the home satellite industry. Jackie, come on. Come on.
Frank Wilkinson and Mariette Hartley.
Here's another kind of television story now. How far some folks will go to watch their favorite programs. Scott Osborne went to a tiny island a long way from nowhere to bring back this special report. Friends, welcome to Provo Island. That's a very long name for a very small place about 600 miles southeast of Florida. Now, Providenciales Island doesn't have much industry, just a little fishing. And it has no agriculture because the island is really just an outgrowth of coral. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't have very many people either, fewer than 2,000 by most people's estimates. But Provo Island, as it's called, has one thing in abundance. Provo Island has television. Satellite receivers bring a choice of hundreds of programs to Provo Island. And the choice belongs to Bob Cooper, a well-known American technical writer who moved here 3 years ago. Cooper's 13-year-old son, Kevin, switches easily from one satellite transponder to another. And a 10-watt solar-powered transmitter sends forth the selection.
Like so many of us, I always thought that, gosh, it would be fun to have my own television station. So the opportunity presented
Where was that dumb?
Absolutely, I did it.
Watched TV last night, Vic?
You know, 24-channel receiver didn't come on for a while, I guess. Huh?
You could buy one, that black one, that microdie that was in the CBS piece, where I had my thumb and I'm changing. You could buy one of those. They were $7,500, and the waiting list was about 6 months. But I got real lucky because I published the cable magazine at the time, and I published the cable technical magazine, and that magazine had a very active part in all sorts of FCC activities relative to cable. I was a very vocal journalist when I wrote about it, and cable and satellites. And frankly, I own the magazine, so I used the advertising pages to trade for equipment. There were several pieces of equipment like that microdyne receiver for $7,500 that I couldn't have afforded no matter what. Mm-hmm. But I was able to swap advertising pages in my magazine for that receiver. I did the same thing with the LNA. The LNA was $5,200, cable operator price. That was a 180-degree LNA, $5,200. And I waited for that for 4 months until they finally got one, because the standard LNAs in those days were like 220, 250 degrees, and I wanted a really good one. So I waited until they accidentally got one. They had a great way of getting, the LNA prices were based upon the noise temperature. The lower the noise temperature, the more they cost. Get up on it. Here we go. Ready? Take it up a little more. Take it up. You lift up on some more? Thanks. Good one.
The basic concept behind it is a Fresnel type design. These are individual rings that are calculated to a center focal point which is 1 meter above the center of the dish. Each one of these is an independent parabola.
See, $10 for the first scramble channel and $6.95 for each additional scramble channel.
That this particular show has created new resolve in the industry and helped create the understanding that scrambling is really quite an asset. And I personally feel that as scrambling becomes a reality and all the channels that scramble are going to scramble, we're going to see a whole new ball game that's going to result in a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Well, I'd say that the industry is in a state of change. The market changed their attitude relative to our technology, primarily due to misleading and incorrect advertising and public relations activities done by the cable industry. This forces our industry to react to this change in the marketplace, and that means a shift in every level of the industry.
But Joe and Mabel were in their living room saying, golly, HBO, and now this, and now that, they're all scrambling. And a sign out on their big dish out in their backyard says a $4,000 bird bath.
That we were willing to pay for the programming that was delivered to us, especially the pay TV programming, the movies. We said we are not pirates.
I never heard of the satellite industry at all in 1981 when I introduced the bill to try to deal with the problems of piracy. And agreement that was fair to you, fair to the programmers, and fair to the cable industry. Compromise incorporated the civil and criminal penalties that I sought for unauthorized reception signals. But it also recognized for the first time the legitimate interests of home Earth station owners by giving them access without threat of penalty to unscrambled signals.
I sense very much that because you're a very deep grassroots movement, in the end, you're going to win. I only caution you that once when you do win, and I'm thinking positive, that you don't forget about your consumers. You don't get too big. You're part of the consumer movement now.
Our customer does it for us. They have said that this is the smoothest rollout, a launch of a new system like this, of this magnitude. They have never experienced anything that was so trouble-free. We have 70 million hours of field operations. The capability of turning each box on and off independently. If you don't pay your bill, the program supplier will turn that box off, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Shows you how to put it together, but we do not sell a finished product. Don't believe anything you hear from someone about having a descrambler that defeats this system. We know, and we've said publicly, that the video signal can be compromised. The security is not really in the video. Video only. No audio. This is a video processor. Our audio book should be available, we hope, mid-March. A smart engineer with the right amount of money, buying components, can make a kit that unscrambles our scrambling of the video.
You have to build your own circuit board? No, there's a printed and etched circuit board available. And all you do is get the parts on the list and put them in. Most of the parts are available at Radio Shack. The price of all the parts, including the circuit board, should run about $90.
There is no way that they're going to unscramble the audio. We use a military-level security. It's called the Data Encryption Standard Algorithm. This is under the protection of the State Department and the Defense Department, under the Office of Munitions Control.
Our audiobook should be available, we hope, mid-March.
Because there's a signal 24 hours a day, but there's only programming about 15 hours a day. Longer on weekends, usually 18 hours or so.
Well, TV is just great, isn't it?
Well, elliptical north-south orbit, and the perigee of it, where it comes closest to Earth, is about 600 miles, and the apogee, where it's farthest away, is about 20,000 miles. So as it's going away in its apogee, then we start to track it. And you track it for 6 hours, and then the Russians turn it off, and then you start tracking the next one in line. There are 4 of them.
Transmission and sparkling will even wipe out the on band or proof of transponder. CI can cause plenty of headaches for installers, and it can cause complaints if you don't find out about it ahead of Now it's time to do it. Avoid it by locating somewhere else. Say, behind a building at the top of that spot. You guessed it, time to set the pole and begin installing the fish. Well, this is where the hard work begins. By the close to your house and coffee, keep the table as short as you can. Tabletop, new money, and figures. Then make sure you have a clear look angle to see all the birds themselves. Then you're all set, ready to do your home, right? Well, almost. There's one other thing you must consider. These terrestrial microwave transmissions.